Welcome to the session in accessing data in memory. At the end of this session, students will be able to understand various addressing modes available and which of the addressing methods can be used depends on the architecture and CPU organization. Let us check accessing data in memory. So here we are discussing regarding the different ways of computing the address of a value in memory. So there we have some following steps. Step 1, like a constant value known at assembly time. So it is like immediate value which we are going to access at the time of assembly time. Then the content of register, based on the content of register, how the data can be accessed. Then the sum of two register, again it is what the arithmetic instructions or logical instructions, using these how we can access the sum of the different registers. Then again we have a one more method, that is the sum of register and a constant. Okay, so using register and a immediate value, how we are going to compute the address, that also we are going to check with reference to the accessing data in memory. So here, based on this accessing the values in memory, we have some addressing modes, and regarding with this we have a following table. This table gives names of these addressing modes and shows a few others as well. So here you are looking the syntax of the different instructions in the table differs from that of the ARC instructions. Okay, so this is a common feature of assembly language. Each one differs from the rest in syntax conventions. Okay, the notation capital M in the square bracket X is the meaning column assumes memory is an array. Okay, so capital M whose bytes index is given by the address computation in bracket. So there may seem to be assertions of addressing modes and its usage. So if you are looking the different addressing mode, immediate addressing, it allows a reference to a constant that is known at assembly time. The next one is direct addressing. It is used to access data items whose address is known at assembly time again. And the next one is indirect addressing. It is used to access a pointer variable whose address is known at compile time. So there we are accessing the different addresses or addresses at the time of assembly, compile and runtime. So with this reference we should check. Then the next, if you are looking, that is register indirect addressing. It is used when the address of the operand is known until runtime. Okay, stack operands fits his description and are accessed by register indirect addressing in the form of push and pop instructions that also decrement and increment the registers respectively. Fine. Register indexed, register based and register based index addressing are used to access components of arrays. Okay. The next we are looking for subroutine linkage. So here we are majorly discussing regarding with respect to register values. Okay. Now a subroutine, that is called also for function or procedure, and it is a sequence of instruction that is involved in a manner that makes it appear to be a single instruction in a high level view. So when a program calls a subroutine, control is passed from the program to the subroutine, which executes a sequence of instruction and then returns to the location just passed where it was called. So there are a number of methods for passing arguments to and from the called routine, referred to as calling convention, and the process of passing arguments between routines is referred to as subroutine linkage. Okay, So here there is a one table that shows a program that loads two arguments into R1 and R2. This calls subroutine add underscore 1 and then retrieved the result from register 3, that is R3. Subroutine add underscore 1 takes its operand from R1 and R2 and places the result in R3. So before returning via the JMPL instruction, this method is fast and simple. But it will not work if the number of arguments that are passed between the routines exceeds the number of free register, or if subroutine calls are deeply nested. So you have a question here. The process of passing arguments between routines is referred to as, you have options: calling convention, subroutine linkage, procedure, function. So please think on this question and write your answer. Your answer is, the process of passing arguments between routine is referred to as subroutine linkage. Now, with the same reference, subroutine linkage, we are moving for the next point, data link area. Here, a second calling convention creates a data link area. That is, the address of the data link area is passed in a predetermined register to the called routine. So here if you are looking at table which shows an example of this method of subroutine linkage. Here the .dwb pseudo operation in the calling routine sets up a data link area that is 3 words long at address x2, x plus 4 and x plus 8. Okay, and the calling routine loads its two arguments into x and x plus 4, calls subroutine add underscore 2 and then retrieves the result passed back from add underscore 2 from memory location x plus 8. And the address of data link area x is passed to the assembler, recognizes the set high construct, shows for the calling routine and replaces x with its address. The SRL that follows the set high moves the address x into the least significant 22 bits of register 5, since set high places its operands into the leftmost 22 bits of the target register. Clear? So an alternative approach to loading the address of x into register 5 R5 would be to use a storage location for the address of x and then simply apply the id instruction to loads the location R5 and R5 plus 4 and places its results in the data link area at location R5 plus 8 before returning. So by using a data link area, arbitrarily large blocks of data can be passed between routines without copying more than a single register during subroutine linkage. Next, subroutine linkage stack. This one is the third calling convention which uses a stack. The general idea is that the calling routine pushes all of its arguments onto a last in first out stack. The call routine then pops the passed argument and a third of its argument onto a last in first out stack. The call routine then pops the passed argument. An advantage of using a stack is that of its size grows and shrinks as needed. This supports arbitrarily deep nesting of procedure calls without having to declare the size of the stack at assembly time. So an example of passing argument using a stack as shown in this particular table. Here register R14, that is 14, serves as the stack pointer, which is initialized by the operating system prior to executing the calling routine. The calling routine places its arguments R1 and R2, that is onto the stack by decrementing the stack pointer and by storing each arguments on the new top of the stack. Okay, subroutine add underscore 3 is called, which pops its argument from the stack, performs an addition operation, and then stores its return value on the top of the stack before returning. So these are my references. Thank you.